Far back past 100 years, but a good ways.
I used to see him somewhat as a representative of that generation of Newfoundlanders who were really the keepers of our cultural heritage, you know, in his case particularly the music. But I mean, there were people in all these communities who kept like the tunes, the dances, the stories, and the songs. These people, they weren't recorded in the history books. We never learned about them in school.
Emile Benoit was the other great influence for me, and he, completely different than Rufus. His repertoire tunes was entirely different. Emile composed a lot of his own music. Also a man who loved a lot of fun and loved to play music and entertain people. Dance around, he'd get up to all kinds of antics, you know, playing the fiddle and on his back. I saw him actually do a somersault one time and land back on his feet, and he never missed a note of the tune. It was amazing.
I just loved his spirit. It was absolutely infectious. You couldn't be in his company without catching some of the joy.
Emile's career was remarkably like Rufus Ginshard's. The fiddler gained prominence in his 60s. He made lasting friendships with Kelly Russell, Christina Smith, Pamela Morgan, and other young musicians. Emile took his music to Europe, across Canada, and into the United States.
Emile's such a showman, and that whole connection between the French culture here and the French culture there was, for Emile, it was just like being home. It was you know, so close to what he'd grown up with and the kind of situation he'd play in on the Port-au-Port Peninsula, that it was really a trip, and people loved him there. They just, you know, identified with him right away. He had friends, and you know, you couldn't get him out of there.
Some of the tunes he had were, you know, bits and pieces of traditional tunes that he would put together and he'd put his own name on it. But there were other tunes that I've never heard anything like it anywhere. Wherever they came from, just the music in the man was incredible.
Mais moi, je n'en voudrais pas vivre à la rose d'Amérique.
Rufus had passed away, and then a little while after that, Emile passed away. I remember Minnie White saying to me, I'm the next one in line, you know. And I think what she really meant, not so much that she was going to be the next one to die, but that it was, Emile and Rufus were icons, had become almost legends in their own time in Newfoundland as instrumental performers. And so had Minnie.
I was 8 years old. That's when I was in Bates Ferry, St. Alban. I got interested in accordion on account of my father used to play the accordion. And I liked the accordion. I liked all kinds of music then, but I seemed to take the accordion more so than anything else. I didn't think I could play very good. But they asked me to go to a club that started down there called the Starlight Lounge. One Sunday. I went down that Sunday, and I won't guarantee you I've never so sorry in all my life. Going down for a few people was going to be there, and there was about 300 blocked the place. And here I never got on the bandstand before. I had to face it. Now you can picture what I felt like. I had my stomach full of butterflies. As soon as we started to play, the people blocked the floor. Well, that was a little bit of encouragement. I figured that when they're not going to look at me, they're dancing. I went back the next Sunday, and I ended up there 13 years.
It was quite different, because here's a woman that you had a hard job to get out of the kitchen and convinced that she really do play well. And then to go into a club, and there she is being the boss of the band, and they frightened the death of her. They better not screw up. She fronted the band, she called the shots on what she wanted to play, she wrote her own music. Oh yeah, that was something else. There used to be always a joke, you know, what's the definition of a gentleman? A fellow who can play accordion but one. You know, what's the difference between a button accordion and a piano accordion? Piano accordion burn longer. These sort of things, right? Well, Minnie White, I think, is, and Fromage and them, took the stigma away now. I think she put some recognition back into accordion players, some respectability back into accordion players.
I often said, there's accordion players in Newfoundland, women, plays behind the doors. If they got out, they'd probably do the same as I done. Once you make up your mind to go, because I know it's got to be a good new accordion players. Got to be some women out there. And they're not showing up, see? But I was brazen enough to step out and go.
You may talk a Clarenolan's ball or anything you choose, but I couldn't hold a snuff box to the spree at Kelligrews.
Newfoundlanders have always been topical in their songwriting, and as is almost all traditional music. And they've written about specific events and specific people and times and so on.
And I'll tell you, boys, we had a time at the Kelligrews soiree.
Not just the singing tradition, but I think the songwriting or the song-making tradition is still pretty strong as well.
Well, Crooked Flavin struck the fiddler, so a hand I then took in. You should see George Clooney's beaver hat and it flattened to the rim. And Hogan's coat was like a vest, the tails were gone, you see. Says I, the devil haul ye in your Kelligrews soiree.
John Burke was, in his time, the most successful impresario in St. John's. Year after year, from the 1890s till almost till the time he died, he put out books of songs, mostly of his own creation. Songs that may have been out of the whole cloth written by John Burke, or may have been cast as a parody of some other popular song. He'd find something in the news, and then he'd turn it into a song.
As I sit here alone by the fire, many strange fancies my mind often fill. So I said, why strike off that new bars, Maggie, of your dock near the old Southside Hill.
Some of his songs, because they were distributed as these songbooks or as little sheets of what we call broadsides, little sheets of paper, perhaps 5 or 6 inches wide, 12 inches long or so, he'd sell these on the street or hire little boys to sell them. Because they were distributed that way, sometimes they'd travel long distances. And some of his songs have, in some sense, gone underground for the 60 years or 80 years since he wrote them. And one example of that is the song Harbour Grace Excursion, or Excursion Around the Bay.
Well, it was on last Monday morning and the day been calling fine, to the Harbour Grace Excursion with the boys to have a time. And just before the sailor took the gangway from the pier, I saw some fellow haul me wife and put it a volunteer.
When you're younger, you might have heard a cousin or an uncle sing this song that really stood out in your head, and then you just got to sort of you know, just prod back and search it out again. And that's indeed what's happened with Excursion Around the Bay, which I remember Gabe Houlihan singing from I was young as 7 years old.
Oh me, oh my, I heard me oh a cry. Oh me, oh my, I think I'm gonna die. Oh me, oh my, I heard me always say, I wish I'd never taken this excursion around the bay. Hey!
In 1967, a young singer-songwriter made his own excursion from the Bay. And Ron Hines would later play Johnny Burke in a stage production called The Bard of Prescott Street. Now regarded as Newfoundland's premier songwriter, Ron polished his skills acting, writing, and singing in the cooperative theater movement of the 1970s and 80s. The new Bard had arrived.
To my mind, he follows directly in the tradition of St. John's songwriters that Johnny Burke formed a part of. And Ron is the modern day sort of continuance of that Johnny Burke songwriting tradition, you know.
Johnny lives on a farm, on a far distant place. Take off your shoes, stay out of my
I have always thought that growing up here in this community kind of made me the kind of writer that I am. It colors everything that I do.
words on the sand. Sonny, don't go away.
And you spend years and years and years thinking about it. I'm going to be a songwriter in the music business, and everybody thinks, well, how the hell are you ever going to do that? You grow up in little tiny communities like this. Those kinds of things seem so remote. They seem so impossible.
Silence goes on, I'm feeling so tired, not all that's wrong.
I think some of the Ron songs are already traditional Newfoundland music. You know, I think they've been absorbed into not only Newfoundland culture, but in cultures all over the world. It's a phenomenon, if you ask me.
Sonny's dream has traveled across cultural and linguistic boundaries. The Irish claim it as their own, and it's been translated and sung by the Portuguese. And although Ron Hines typically writes narrative, not topical songs, the tragic sinking of the Ocean Ranger in 1982 inspired Atlantic Blue.
Ocean Ranger, Jack, are you there?
Bodies have been spotted in the water, but there is no indication at this time as to whether there are any survivors.
What color is a heart? What shade of memory never fades, lingers to eternity. How dark is the light? Sleepless eyes of mine survey. Is that you? My
It was kind of a day like that day. It was pretty bad, pretty stormy, pretty dark day. And it just all came back to me really early in the morning, and I spent the day at the table writing that lyric. And couldn't sing it for the longest time, couldn't get through it. It's just, it had a really emotional effect on me, you know. But that's always a great breakthrough for me, just to be able to, like, get past that, you know, to be able to just, like, write about all that stuff. Because I carried it around, like most people, for years and years, the shock of that, right? It's a big moment in the history of Newfoundland. The loss of the Ranger. All those lives.
I awake in the morning as the waves the same. I hold my heart at bay, and the lives of its children in my hands. Whose plea will receive no answer? Whose call is lost? Whose voice so familiar whispers my name as the night comes in? Whose wish never fails to vacant heart on Valentine's? Is that you? My heart is cold.
There's a quote from Lady Hope Simpson. She said, you know, Newfoundlanders are the only people who had to be chained to heaven because they always want to be going back to their island.
That sense of place is a recurrent theme in Newfoundland songs. It's rooted in a love of home that's regional by nature, but universal in its appeal. Whether singing about the beauty of the land, the warmth of the people, or the politics of the day, our songwriters reveal Newfoundland to audiences at home and abroad.
Just to wake up in the morning to the quiet of the cove and hear Aunt Bessie talking to herself.
We're believers that you got to stay, you know, connected to family and to home and to community and to nature. I have to get in the woods. I have to hear the waves on the beach, and I've got to hear the wind blow the leaves, and I got to hear a brook rattle on a regular basis, not just a Sunday afternoon walk. It doesn't do it, it doesn't cut it. Almost every day of my life, I have to go and do that.
How can I leave those mornings with the sunrise on the cove and the gulls like flies surrounding Clayton's wharf?
Expatriate Newfoundlanders desperate for a taste of home are transported via the lyrics of Buddy What's-His-Name and the Other Fellas. Lyrics that speak of the people and places they've left behind.
Some go to where the buildings reach to meet the clouds, where warm and gentle people turn to swarming faceless crowds. So I'll do without their riches, glamour and the noise, and I'll stay and take my chances with those saltwater joys.
If we're not here, if we're not in Newfoundland, we can't write about what we see, and we can't hear the stories, and we can't talk to the people, and we can't learn the songs from here.
If we're going to do original material, we're going to do it in a traditional type of way, then we're going to write about the things that we care about, things that we know about, which is, of course, our people and our place. And that's what we did.
In 1915, on the 10th day of June, at Burke's Wharf, the Marion lay.
In the late 1970s, Bud Davidge and Sim Savory formed Simini. The duet from the South Coast became extremely popular. Their Saltwater Cowboys album sold over 70,000 copies, and musicians flocked to their recording studio in Bellorum looking for that Simini sound.
But some on the quay were rumored to say she'd never be heard from again.
Whenever you're talking about your own culture, your own people, your own place, your own language, your own humor, you've got a pretty broad fabric there to draw from.
'Cause I've seen the mountains, and I've seen the sea.
The voices of the old trappers can be heard in the music of Cartwright's Harry Martin, who draws inspiration from the history and the wilds of Labrador.
And lived a life that was free.
The fact that I left Labrador helped to give me that feeling of what I had, something that we, I think, all too often take for granted. The songs are there behind every tree and every rock. It's just a matter of putting it on paper. It's not difficult to write a song about the big land.
Where the wild birds are flying, and the caribou roam. Many places I've rambled, this is my home.
They sailed out from St. Leonard's and out from Toutslow. They steamed across the bay with their houses in tow.
If Figgy Duff opened the doors for Celtic music in the 1970s and 80s, then the Irish Descendants stepped through in the 90s. The final decade of the century saw the East Coast music industry blossom. The Descendants led the Newfoundland Parade.
For us, initially, I mean, no one knew who the hell the Irish Descendants were, but we had sense enough to you know, write the record companies, and fortunate enough to meet Sam, the record man, and when we did finally get an opportunity to play in front of these people, the crowd were out, and it was exciting times, and we excited those people, and subsequently we built relationships on that.
In the merry month of June, when from me home I started, left the girls in tune, so sad and broken hearted, saluted Father dear.
You know, I became familiar, acquainted with the O'Briens and the Irish Descendants, and a fellow called Coolan, who's retired now, was head of Warner Brothers, and he wanted to sign this group very, very much. I said, well, you know, I'm not quite sure. I said, you know, I'm going to St. John's, you know, we're going to have East Coast music and such like, and we'll get a hold of O'Brien's boat, which is in the Bay Bowls, you know, and we'll get everybody on the boat, and they won't get off the boat until they sign the contract. Well, that's what happened, believe it or not. You know, it's so far-fetched when you think about it. But that was the first time that an artist from Newfoundland had been signed by a multinational company. And I think that's sort of a landmark. And of course, that same company signed Big C, and all these things are doing well.
And the winner is the Irish Descendants. Yeah!
For us, things like the East Coast Music Awards aside, are great. It's wonderful to win them, but that sort of thing is a very important tool for anybody who's building a career in the music business.
Tell you what, I'll give you a deal. What? $20, you can have a CD, no problem.
Everybody's, oh, East Coast music. You know, it's great. Where was it? Well, it's always been there. You know, this talent has always existed. In the last 10 or 20 years is when the record companies found out that they could make money out of it. Suddenly everybody's, oh my God, where's this talent been?
And the winner is...
Great Big C, Lukey, producer of
I think we should say there's something really amazing about a music scene where a 100-year-old song from Buena Vista Bay can become the video of the year.
I think the biggest thing for down here is the people here in Newfoundland have to realize, as regional as their music is, it's universal.
If you just look around, Newfoundland is the people and the rocks and the trees that are here, and you know, as long as there's rocks and trees and people here, there's going to be songs.
Traditional music, too, is one of those things that its death has often been reported, you know. As long as there's two Newfoundlanders left on the island, one is a performer and the other one is an audience. So I think the fact that the music isn't homogeneous, the fact that it's always changing, that it's been evolving for 500 years, so you can't say, okay, this is traditional music, now we're going to put it in a museum and we'll all admire it, you know, then it's meaningless. What's allowed this tradition to thrive is the fact that it's kept growing.
to think even that, you know, people will be singing Excursion Around the Bay or Lucas Boat or whatever 2 or 3 generations after we're gone. We had something to do with, you know, preserving this little slice of Newfoundland folklore, and that's great.
You remember the Jerry Squires painting where all the families on the edge of the cliff and they seem to be looking at something. They're looking at you or whatever, you know. In the back of my brain, there's a whole crowd of singers. I mean, I can't see them as individuals, but I can feel their goodwill. I can feel that they're happy the song is being sung again or something.
I had a dream the other night. Lowlands, lowlands away, my John. I had a dream the other night. Lowlands away. I dreamt my love came standing by. Lowlands, lowlands away, my John came standing